The history of America is a story of discovery, struggle, revolution, growth, and global influence. It is a journey that began long before the United States was formed, stretching back thousands of years to the first people who inhabited the land. Long before European explorers arrived, the land now known as America was home to millions of Native Americans. These indigenous people lived in diverse societies across vast regions, from the forests of the East to the plains of the Midwest and the deserts of the Southwest. They developed rich cultures, traditions, and systems of governance. Tribes such as the Cherokee, Sioux, and Navajo built communities that thrived for generations.
By the early 1600s, the English established their first permanent colony at Jamestown, Virginia, in 1607. Life in the colony was extremely difficult, with settlers facing hunger, disease, and conflict with Native Americans. However, the colony survived and eventually grew, especially after the introduction of tobacco as a cash crop. In 1620, a group of English settlers known as the Pilgrims arrived on the Mayflower and founded Plymouth Colony in present-day Massachusetts. They came seeking religious freedom and established a community based on their beliefs. Over time, more colonies were established along the eastern coast of North America, eventually forming the 13 colonies. These colonies developed their own economies and identities, but remained under British control. Tensions began to rise in the 18th century as Britain imposed taxes on the colonies without giving them representation in Parliament. Laws such as the Stamp Act and the Tea Act angered the colonists, leading to protests and resistance. One of the most famous acts of defiance was the Boston Tea Party in 1773, when colonists dumped British tea into Boston Harbor. This event marked a turning point in the relationship between Britain and the colonies.
In 1775, conflict broke out between British troops and colonial militias in battles such as Lexington and Concord. This marked the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. The following year, on July 4, 1776, the colonies declared their independence through the Declaration of Independence, a document written primarily by Thomas Jefferson. The war lasted for several years, with the colonists facing many challenges. However, with determination and support from allies like France, the colonies eventually defeated Britain. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris officially recognized the independence of the United States of America. After gaining independence, the new nation faced the challenge of creating a stable government. In 1787, leaders gathered to write the United States Constitution, which established the framework for the government. It created three branches: executive, legislative, and judicial, to ensure a balance of power. George Washington became the first president of the United States in 1789. Under his leadership, the nation began to grow and establish itself. In the early 19th century, the United States expanded westward. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803 doubled the size of the country. Explorers Lewis and Clark were sent to map the new territory, opening the door for further expansion. However, expansion also led to conflict, especially over the issue of slavery. The nation became divided between northern states, which opposed slavery, and southern states, which depended on it for their economy. This division led to the American Civil War in 1861. The war was fought between the Union, northern states, and the Confederacy, southern states. It was one of the deadliest conflicts in American history. President Abraham Lincoln led the Union during the war and issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, declaring that enslaved people in Confederate states were free. After 4 years of brutal fighting, the Union emerged victorious in 1865, and slavery was abolished. Following the Civil War, the United States entered a period of reconstruction and industrial growth. Railroads expanded across the country, factories were built, and cities grew rapidly. Millions of immigrants arrived from Europe, seeking better opportunities. By the early 20th century, the United States had become a major economic power. It played a significant role in World War I and later in World War II. After World War II, the United States emerged as a global superpower, competing with the Soviet Union during the Cold War. During the mid-20th century, the country also faced internal struggles for civil rights. African Americans and other minority groups fought against discrimination and segregation. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. inspired change through peaceful protests, leading to important civil rights laws.
In recent decades, the United States has continued to shape global politics, technology, and culture. It has experienced economic growth, challenges, and social change. Events such as the September 11 attacks in 2001 and advancements in technology have influenced modern American society. Today, the United States is one of the most powerful nations in the world. Its history reflects a complex journey of triumphs and struggles, shaped by the efforts of countless individuals. From the first Native Americans to modern times, the story of America is one of resilience, diversity, and constant evolution. It is a nation built on ideals of freedom and opportunity, continually striving to live up to those principles.
If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.